Hello, and welcome to Unexplained Mysteries. I'm your host, Liam Kavanaugh, and today's topic is the uncanny but very real nature of the Winchester House. First, we'll talk about the history of the house, then dive into the possible hauntings and uncanny nature of the house. First, let's give a background of the owner of the house, Sarah Winchester. Sarah was married to a wealthy firearms magnate and gave birth to a daughter who unfortunately died after only a month. They lived comfortably for years, but from 1880 to 1881, both Sarah's parents and husband died tragically, leaving Sarah with a large inheritance. After this, she moved to California and purchased an 8-room farmhouse. And though small at its start, this house would be endlessly renovated until Sarah died in 1922. But let's get back on track. Before her husband died, they became interested in architecture, which allowed Sarah to do a lot of the planning herself. And though she hired several architects, she fired all of them in favor of doing it herself. She designed each room and supervised the project, but would abandon construction if a room didn't meet her expectations. This and her unusual architecture patterns caused the house to develop a maze-like design with some very odd rooms. So, let's look at the weirdest. In total, the house has 160 rooms and is 24,000 square feet. And though most of these rooms are completely normal, some of them have characteristics or are designed in a way that sets them apart from the rest. For example, there's a staircase that leads to a wall and another one that has 44 steps but only leads to the second floor. And there are doors that lead to the outside of the house, but on the second floor. Anyways, let's get back to Sarah. In the middle of the house, there lies a seance room, which leads us to the next part of our story. Sarah practiced spiritualism, and part of the reason she moved to California in the first place was due to her psychic, who also may have been the cause of the endless construction. Let me explain. The theory goes that when Sarah Winchester lost both her husband and her child, she went to a psychic who told her that ghosts were haunting her and her family was cursed. So she moved to California. The psychic's advice was to keep building and building on the house to confuse the spirits, so that's what she did. Sarah kept building the house until she died in 1922, and immediately after, all construction was stopped. After Winchester died, the house was eventually opened for public tours, and this is where the haunting comes in. When famed magician Harry Houdini visited the house, he left with more questions than answers, and gave the house the nickname of the Mystery House. And ever since then, people have experienced strange events in the house. And this year will be the house's 100th anniversary. The Winchester Mystery House is regarded as one of the most haunted places in the world, and even the house itself is unsettling in nature. The real nature of the Winchester House may never be known, but it's worth a try. Anyways, that will be all. I'm your host, Liam Kavanaugh. This has been Unexplained Mysteries, and remember, life isn't always as it seems.